After what happened in Dhaka, with Tyler getting shot and falling into the lake, thinking it was the last of him, Tyler didn't know he would still be given a second chance at life. The current swept him away and brought him back to land, where a little girl saw him. He was brought to Dubai. Nick stayed by him through it all, worriedly waiting for him to wake up. When he finally woke up, he had to stay in the hospital for a while for his physical therapy. After what happened, his body got beaten up so much that it took him some time before he could walk again. One day, Nick visited him again in the hospital. Tyler was feeling helpless because he couldn't walk properly and also because before, all he wanted was to die and follow his son to the afterlife, so he didn't understand why he was still alive. Nick told him that there must be a reason why Tyler fought his way back to life and that he just had to find out why. Elsewhere, in Kojori, Georgia, a man named Zurab is seen feeding the goats when another man arrives. The man told Zurab that his brother's prison sentence was going to be extended by 10 years. Later that day, a governor visited him. The governor has been working for Zurab, but despite that, the governor still signed the agreement to extend Zurab's brother's prison sentence. Zurab calmly asked the governor to walk with him as they talked. Without the governor realizing it, he just walked towards the grave Zurab's man dug for him. Zurab stabbed the man with the pitchfork while his men killed the governor's guards. Tyler finally got discharged from the hospital, but he still had to wear leg braces and an arm sling. Nick and Yaz dropped him off at his new home in Gmunden, Austria, which they bought as a gift for Tyler. Nick gave Tyler a little box, which contained all the important things Tyler had in his old home. As Nick walked away, Tyler asked her when they were going to meet again. Since Tyler is retiring, he doesn't know whether or not he's ever going to see Nick again. Unbeknownst to him, they're going to meet again sooner or later. Inside the prison, Zurab's brother, David, visited the room where his wife and children are also locked in. David didn't want to be away from his family, and since he had the power to do so, he got his family locked up in prison with him on the pretext that they'd be safe if they hid in the prison where he could protect them. His wife, Ketavan, hated it and has always tried to tell him that they can just hide somewhere else where they could still be free and not locked up in a messy place like the prison, especially since it's not a safe and healthy environment for their children. David slapped Ketavan and left the cell, leaving Ketavan crying silently. Their son, Sandro, was awake and overheard what happened. When his father left, he walked towards his mom to comfort her. Tyler just got back home from somewhere when he saw a man on his veranda. Tyler approached the man and asked him who he was. The man didn't introduce himself, but he knew who Tyler was and how good he was on the job, but to annoy the latter, he made fun of Tyler's condition. To prove that he does live up to his name, Tyler shot the cup the man was drinking from, hitting it perfectly. The man then told him that someone he knew wanted Tyler to work for her. That someone is Mia, Tyler's ex-wife. The man then told Tyler that Mia's sister was in trouble. Mia's sister is actually Ketavan. Mia wanted Tyler to save her sister from her husband. The man also told Tyler about David and Zurab. David and Zurab were born when there were a civil war in Georgia. Their family fled to Armenia and was taken in by Evtandil, their uncle. Even in Armenia, their family wasn't safe, so to survive, they started running drugs and killing at such a young age. Years later, they finally formed a gang called Nagazi that practically runs the whole country, as they got all the politicians to work for them. The brothers promised the members of their gang that they would become a huge family, a very powerful thing to offer those who are deprived of it. And in return, all the Nagazis turned into a bunch of loyal dogs for the brothers. After explaining everything to Tyler, the man told Tyler to be careful as he was going to do the mission alone before leaving. On the Amalfi coast, Nick was talking to someone on the phone when Tyler called her. Tyler told her about the new job he got. Nick wanted Tyler not to do it, as the guy was literally clinically dead just months ago. And now he's going to do another job that can possibly send him to coma again, or worse, kill him for real this time. Tyler rebutted that Nick wanted him to find out why he fought his way back to life, and now he's going to do that by doing the mission. Tyler trained his body and got it back to perfect condition again. 6 weeks later, he was ready for the job, and Nick will help him, along with her brother Yaz. Tyler sneaked inside the prison and paid the guard to open cell 207, where Ketavan and her children are. He sneaked the family out of the cell, but Nina, the little girl, accidentally dropped her toy, and it made a sound, waking a prisoner. Tyler hurriedly led the family out as the prisoner whistled to get the others' attention. Every prisoner started making noise, and the alarm went off, signaling code red. They went through a room where there were a lot of prisoners, and Tyler fought them off. He planted an explosive near the door to open it and led the family out again, with Yaz telling him where to go. Tyler got the children out, but just as he was pushing Kevin up, David suddenly came and attacked him. The two of them had a duel, and later on, Tyler managed to break David's hand and stab him in the neck. But Tyler and Kevin weren't able to go out as the other prisoners arrived and started chasing them. He yelled at Nick to meet them at Charlie, and he ran away with Kevin. Tyler and Kevin went through the common yard, where everything was in chaos as the prisoners were rioting. Tyler and Kevin struggled to leave the yard as everyone came at them. They managed to leave the yard, and Nick and Yez came to help them out. As they drove away, Nagazis chased them down. Tyler's car was hit, and they had to escape on foot. They jumped on the cargo train they had prepared beforehand, and when they knew the family was safe, Tyler went out to shoot down the helicopters chasing them. Meanwhile, Nick fought with the Nagazis, who managed to get in the cargo train. Suddenly, the cargo train exploded. They came out of the destroyed cargo train just fine, and Sandro was hesitant to come with them as he wanted to see his father. When he learned that Tyler had killed his father, the boy cried and attacked Tyler, who told him that if he didn't kill his father, it would be his mother who would die. Zurab was in a morgue, staring at his brother's corpse. He seemed to be going crazy because of his anger and grief at losing his only brother, whom he tried so hard to protect. He knew that it wasn't just revenge on his brother and promised to hunt down the ones responsible for David's death. On a plane, Nick learned that Tyler actually knew Kevin, as he was once married to her sister. While Tyler and Kevin were talking, Sandro secretly called Zurab to ask his uncle if David really wanted to kill his mother. But Zurab manipulated Sandro into thinking that it was his mother's fault and asked the boy where they were headed. They arrived in Vienna, Austria, where Kevin was going to stay with her children while Nick and her team worked on their visas and everything else they needed to leave and hide somewhere safer. Sandro berated Tyler for killing his father, too blinded by the idea that the only reason their father locked them up with him was because he wanted to protect them. Tyler just walked away, seeing as there's no point in arguing with a child. Later on, Tyler approached Sandro, who was on the balcony. He told Sandro about his late son, his regret of not being there beside him as he died, and how Kevin stayed with David for years to keep her children safe. Sandro finally admitted that he was wrong and apologized to Tyler for telling Zurab about their whereabouts. As if on cue, Tyler saw Nagazi's helicopter. He told everyone that they were leaving. Sandro was sending another message to Zurab. But Kevin caught him and took his phone. As Kevin was expressing her disappointment to Sandro, Nagazi's helicopter gunned them down. They escaped to the parking lot, and just as they were about to drive off, Sandro left the car and ran to the back alley where Zurab was. Yaz, who ran after him, tried to get him to go with him, but Sandro ran to Zurab instead. Nick and Yaz went to the rooftop, while Tyler went to the 57th floor with Kevin and Nina. At Tyler's call, Yaz went down to meet with Tyler while Nick stayed on the rooftop to hold the Nagazis off. Nick was tackled by a Nagazi and fell onto a glass roof, losing consciousness. Tyler saw Nick sliding down the glass roof and immediately saved her from falling. Zurab walked towards him and shot his hand. He was about to shoot again, but Nick woke up and broke the glass that Zurab was standing on. Tyler then threw Nick towards the balcony below and climbed up at the same time as Zurab did. Nick and Yaz took Kevin and Nina to the rooftop to get the Nagazi's helicopter for an escape, while Nick and Zurab fought on top of the glass roof. Tyler shot the glass roof beneath Zurab, and the man fell. Tyler took that chance to go to the rooftop. Everyone was already in the helicopter except for Yaz and Tyler. Before Yaz could enter the helicopter, he was shot by Zurab, who followed them, and Tyler took him to the helicopter. But Yaz still passed away in the helicopter. Zurab left with Sandro, who was feeling guilty for siding with Zurab and putting his mother in danger. Tyler brought everyone to his home, where Nick mourned for his brother. Mia arrived a while later and reunited with her sister. She stepped out of the room and approached Tyler, asking him why he didn't stay when she and their son needed him the most. Tyler tried to make an excuse, but Mia wouldn't take it. They stayed silent for a while when they heard Tyler's phone buzzing. It was Zurab who called him to tell him that he couldn't leave knowing that Tyler was still alive. Tyler asked Zurab where Sandro was, and Zurab offered a negotiation. Zurab told Tyler to meet up at the airfield by St. George's Church. Tyler prepared to leave, and when Nick tried to come with him, he refused, telling Nick to stay with Kevin. He arrived at the airfield, and he shot all the vehicles down, causing several explosions. He killed all of Zurab's men and entered the church where Zurab and Sandro were. Tyler saw Sandro with a bomb sticking to the vest he was wearing. Zurab gave Sandro a gun, telling him to shoot Tyler to avenge his father. Sandro hesitated, and Zurab was persuading him. Then Zurab heard a noise from behind him and quickly held Sandro hostage when he noticed Nick, who came to help Tyler. While Zurab was focused on Nick, Tyler sent a signal to Sandro with his eyes, and the boy escaped from Zurab's hold, distracting the latter. Nick immediately took her gun and exchanged fire with Zurab. Tyler tackled Zurab and started fighting him. When he got pinned down by Zurab with a saw, he grabbed the screwdriver near him and stabbed Zurab with it several times. While Tyler and Zurab were fighting, Sandro took off the vest with bombs on it and approached Nick, who was hit, apologizing to her. Nick took the detonator from Sandro's hand and turned it off. Zurab was losing against Tyler. He crawled away from Tyler, and the latter followed him, stabbing him a few times. Tyler dealt the final blow by stabbing Zurab in the chest. He then held Nick in his arms and stayed there until the cops arrived. Both Tyler and Nick got arrested, but Nick stayed in the hospital for a while to recover. Mia visited Tyler, and the two of them finally reconciled. Mia assured Tyler that their son didn't think his father had left him when he walked out of the hospital room. As a matter of fact, their son admired his father because he knew that his father was leaving to save people, and he wanted to be brave just like his father. After that, Mia bid farewell to Tyler. The guards took Tyler but didn't take him back to his cell. Instead, they escorted him to a secluded area, where he met up with the man he met on his veranda. Tyler asked for the man's name, but again, the man refused to say his name. The man told Tyler that he could get him and Nick out of prison, just as long as they both worked for his boss. Tyler saw Nick stepping out of another car and turned back to the man, asking who his boss was. The man, who apparently has a thing for not introducing himself and the people he works with, refused to say the name of his boss, only telling Tyler that he'd love the boss before walking away from Tyler, who could only stare at him in amusement.